Municipal government touches the people better than state government and federal government. DMO has given me the extra tools that I need to be successful as a Democratic politician.
What I really like about DMO is that I know I'm surrounded by other municipal officials whose world vision is the same as mine. It really gives you so much in the way of new approaches, new solutions that they've come up with.
I had a chance to sit down with one of the facilitators, and immediately I just started crying and I couldn't stop. And that was the first time I think I had really had the opportunity to do that. And she was just so fantastic at saying, if you can't do it here, where can you do it?
I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, and I knew that there was one place that I could go in the Bay Area to get the help and support that I needed, and that was Breast Cancer Connections.
It's exciting for me to share that information and to make the connection between their own connection with nature and their own actions at home and their neighborhoods and their communities and their cities, and to empower, engage them, and educate them. That's very important and exciting to me.
No sabía lo del cuando uno tiene conectado el celular o el cargador del celular, que si está conectado todavía sigue gastando energía, no lo sabía. So, ya aprendí eso y de hoy en adelante lo voy a desconectar.
Carbon neutral, that's a passion. It's not just a fad of fashion. Carbon neutral for all seasons. There's a rhyme, but there's good reasons. Palo Alto must embrace it. Climate change, so let's face it. Let's face it. To avoid the future, make it cool. This ain't no way to fossil fuel. This path we travel down before we shoot for carbon free. We score melting glaciers, rising seas, raging storms that bring disease. Planet Earth is like no other. We must act now to help our mother.
Young Mr. Tien's political troubles began in 1960 after he agreed to fill in for an ailing friend who taught high school history. He noticed that the student's textbook falsely claimed that the Soviets had brought about the Japanese surrender in World War II. Mr. Tien told the class that, in fact, Japan had surrendered after the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He was arrested soon afterward.
Next time you want to play with that video game, think twice and pick up a book instead, or venture into the unknown world that lies before you and share those experiences and memories with friends.
It's too hard to explain, hard to go there, you had to be there. Someday, like the deluge of early spring rain, flows right off the land. It's hard to understand some pain.
We're trying to extend our reach into a younger audience.
We have a admission policy where children under 18 come in for free, so they can come experiment. They can come if it's not something they like to do. The parents don't feel that they've made a huge investment of time and resources to come to it. We have a night where the audience gets to meet the orchestra. It's particularly aimed at kids to actually meet the musicians. And they can sit down in a room, hear demonstrations of their instruments. They can touch the instruments. They can really get their eyes and arms around the music and around the musicians and the instruments, as well as just sitting in the theater and listening to the grand performance.
We also have a petting zoo going on today. We have a story time, coloring books, and also we have the entertainment piece that will start later on, which is going to include a lion dance to start it off with. We have an Aboriginal Taiwanese dance that's going to happen this time of year, and we also have the storytelling told by Cheryl from the Palo Alto Library.
And Frick lines up in the backfield right behind Chris. But it's
here we
a
go.
pass rolling right,
It's
throwing
good.
off his back foot. He has Frick. There it is.
I called it.
Touchdown, Palo Alto. Oh, yes. Except you were thinking it would be a run for
yeah.
Frick.
I was thinking they were
was
gonna run
a 4-yard touchdown pass from Keller Chris
That was a great
to
play.
Andrew Frick.
Completely confused that defense.
Well, it was a great bootleg by design there.
That especially in the community that is my focus, which is the Redwood City's Latino community on the Fair Oaks side of town, that you're not going to be able to get kids in if their parents don't know where the library is, or if their parents don't know that the services are free, if the parents don't know that you don't have to be documented in order to use it, and if they don't know that it's not a safe and accessible place that also has things for them.
Spear, and it's for her courageous journalism and public service as a publisher and producer, and as a member of a marvelous community. You shine a bright light on East Palo Alto and create a sense of community spirit. Please keep up the great work.
So this event is called Glow for the Philippines, and it's supposed to raise awareness and support for those who are suffering right now in the Philippines.
We just got back from Tacloban and Palo, and we saw incredible devastation.
Especially like to support Palo Alto's sister city, Palo, in the Philippines, which is about 90% devastated.
This year, I'm thankful for my family and for my mom.
I'm thankful for this class and this opportunity to do this awesome experience with you guys.
I'm thankful for In-N-Out.
I'm thankful for my Doritos.
I'm thankful for 25 days of Christmas on ABC Family.
Thankful for everything.
I am thankful for being a Latina.
Hello, and welcome to Community Connections, a program dedicated to those individuals living with a developmental or physical challenge. I'm Andrea Thronson, Community Connections Developer at Abilities United. Tonight is one of the most exciting nights for us. We are celebrating Ability United's 50th anniversary, and we have the most incredible guest. We are so honored and privileged to have with us Dr. Temple Grandin.
Well, it's great to be here.
Ted, you got some money? Yeah, sure. So, he's always taking my money. So I've got right here a $20 bill, a $5 bill, and a $1 bill. And one of the problems with American money is that there's no size change, there's no texture change. So without being able to see the money, you really don't know what they are. So with these apps, here's $3, 3 different bills. He can now figure out what it is. He no longer has to trust that someone's going to give him the right money.
So I'm going to point this.
Money reader running.
You can get a little bit closer.
$1.
أنا بحكي إنه لما نطير طبعا بنحس حنا إنه إحنا اللي طايرين في السماء، بنحس حنا إنه إحنا ماخدين حريتنا، فيش حصار هيك على غزة، نطير الطابع، فبنحس إنه نعرف إنه في إحنا عنا حرية.
You're holding a couple of stones that you've had with you ever since that time in Poland. Can you tell us about them, See?
Precious stones, even though they don't look like. I picked them up on the street one evening, the day after the secret police massacred a group of friends. And we called an emergency meeting, and our solidarity leaders told us to get ready for even worse attack. And so they instructed us to wear as many layers of clothing as possible. Put 2 or 3 layers of sweaters, warm hats, even though it wasn't winter, and several layers of pants, preferably ski pants, just expecting that we'll meet the same fate as our friends. So I picked these 2 stones on the street on my way home, and not to throw them at anybody. I'm a peaceful guy, but I promised myself that there will be symbol of my determination, of my struggle for freedom, I suppose.
I'm living under a plastic tarp, dirt floors, thatched walls, mosquitoes and head lice everywhere. The lice was so bad that we had to shave my 4-year-old brother's head to get rid of it. Mom's depressed, and rightfully so. She'd left behind 3 other kids and everything she knew, everything she owned. And so it falls on me to get in line the nearby wells for water. It's my job to get in line for food rations from the United Nations. Vegetables and fruit were really rare. We are living in a refugee camp in Malaysia. We are actually the lucky ones, waiting for any country to accept us. After 1 year, there was a generous family from a church helped us come to the U.S.
Alec, do you remember what you said or what he said to you?
Wait, to the pastry chef or the president? Because
Let's
it's
start
two
with the
completely different
pastry
conversations.
No, let's stick with the president.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I actually didn't remember what I said to the president because I was so in shock. Like, I just walked in and I was like I wouldn't even know what was going through my brain. So I had no idea what I said. Apparently I said like, Good to see you, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Some around that lines.
Okay, well, we have the video of all of you meeting the President and the First Lady.
What's your name? Good to see you. Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Hey,
Hi,
what's your name?
I'm Dakota.
Hey, Dakota. Good to see you. I think Bo thinks your coat might be alive. That's not alive, Bo. Sit. There you go.
I have a question here. What are you saying? You're saying you believe the DUI checkpoints are a violation of the Constitution?
I'd say they're a violation of the 4th and 14th Amendments, yeah.
Okay, and so as a result of that, then haven't there been lawsuits on DUI checkpoints?
Well, I'm saying it went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that you don't need a warrant to do it.
And you know why? They probably ruled on that because of the public good that a DUI checkpoint, at least by illusion, would be a good thing for the community.
Well, they thought that it was a minimally invasive.
Minimally invasive.
That's how they.
That's a good term.
They said
like
it was
that.
minimally invasive, and so they're saying, well, the innocent guy just gets stopped momentarily.
Momentarily.
He's happy to see the officer,
and he's saying Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And for the first time in all those years, the polls seem to have flipped and become. They're doing too much, and that seems to be part of what Edward Snowden has wrought with his revelations. Is that what you're seeing? And
Yeah.
are there organizations from across the political spectrum reacting?
Absolutely. I was on a panel with Daniel Ellsberg actually right after the first set of leaks, the Verizon business.
Good timing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had actually planned it before all of this came out. It was fantastic sitting next to him. And he said that he believes that the leaks that Snowden has exposed are actually the most important leaks there have ever been because of the extent of the spying that's going on. And I think people are finally beginning to realize that. Sometimes when you're doing this work, you feel like you're sort of just shouting in an empty room, and that has not been the case. People are outraged. People are finally paying attention, and that's something very exciting as an advocate to see.
We have Occidental Petroleum and some other big oil companies, interstate gas companies, I guess, and they are already, and correct me, they are already fracking, but we don't know much about it. Would that be correct?
Well, that's true. They have been fracking in California, and we don't know. But since the discovery of what's called the Monterey Shale, which is in the San Joaquin Valley, there are about 15.8 billion barrels of oil there. This is comparable to what we see in the Middle East, in a massive amount of oil.
Wow.
The fear has been, and what occurred in other states, we're not going to let that happen in California, is that it would go into these shafts, they would leak, the seals would leak and then contaminate the aquifer, and people couldn't drink their drinking water.
Hello and welcome to the new equation for education. STEM plus A equals jobs, where we connect education and employment. This new series spotlights some incredibly great teachers who are teaching STEM subjects, which is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math, as well as an A for the arts.
But to me, there's a real gap between the possibility, entrepreneurial, innovating people who want to see the future and the kind of, the skeptical, perhaps pessimistic, show me the evidence people. I mean, how do they communicate with these different ways of thinking? It's a struggle. It's a struggle out there.
It is, and in fact, how do they communicate? The answer is usually not very well.
This is a 3D printer. It's similar to an ordinary printer, except that instead of depositing tiny drops of ink on paper, it deposits tiny threads of melted plastic on a platform, building up layer upon layer to produce a solid three-dimensional object. Though still in its early stages, this technology is being called revolutionary by some and capable of changing society in major ways. We'll examine this technology and what it could lead to on this episode of Future Talk. Hello, I'm Martin Wasserman, your host, and I'd now like to introduce my guests, Clay Lambert and Blaine Demlow.
How long have you been working professionally, Jeremy? Is this your first tattoo?
No, it's not my first.
That's his
tattoo.
third. It's his third tattoo. Third tattoo.
I've been tattooed since 2007.
2007, all right.
So you're quite the accomplished tattoo artist.
Getting there. Yeah? So, tell us about, like, what are you thinking right now as you're tattooing?
I'm just working, just getting in the zone.
Peter, what a
plugging
pussy
away.
I'm tattooing right now.
By talking to you, am I breaking your concentration and, like, you're messing up the colors and it's going to be go outside the lines?
All right.
Very nice. So you're wedging the clay again?
Yes, and centering. And
Wow. So
compressing the top.
how many pots can you do in a day?
I can do about 100.
100 pots.
Yeah.
Bowls like this. Wow.
Yeah. Which is, for production potter, it's less than average. Japanese production potter would do 200-300.
Wow.
I heard Korean potters does 1,000 in one day.
Wow.
So I'm not.
amazing.
I'm slow side for professional.
Do you have a passion that you enjoy on the side? And how might that passion, I'm always remembering Bill Walsh's words, follow your passion.
Right.
How might that passion translate into a career, even if it doesn't happen today or tomorrow, down the road?
We have a caller. This is Dr. Business. Eric, how can I help you?
What is his favorite piece to teach that inspires business ideas or inspires creativity?
Thank you. I like that one. Let's see what...
That's a very good question. To answer that, I typically find, I have a wonderful lady in my life, and she has taught school for a number of years, and her favorite expression is, Paul, ride the horse in the direction that they're going.
Hi, I'm Darlene Carmen.
And I'm Doug Carmen.
Welcome to the show. Caitlin Freeman, pastry chef for the Blue Bottle Coffee Company, creates desserts that are works of art. Her book, Modern Art Desserts, is a combination of dessert cookbook with step-by-step recipes and a crash course in modern art. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you.
Now, you operated a cafe at the San Jose Museum of Modern Art for 4 years. So tell us what's happening now with the cafe.
It's the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, and which just closed in June for a big 2.5-year expansion.
Wow.
So with the closure also went our cafe. At the cafe, we made all of our desserts were inspired by works of art that were on display in the museum. And I wrote this book, which was only about a quarter of what we had done in our tenure at the museum.
For those of you too young to remember, Rudolf Nureyev was the Soviet Union's leading ballet male dancers in the late 50s. But he was also an outspoken dissident, so much so that he was never allowed to leave the country on tours. Well, almost never. One day, the company, minus Rudolph, was performing in Paris when the lead dancer became incapacitated. The only choice was to send Rudolph as a replacement. He never came back. Instead, he defected to the West and became world famous. He was, of course, looking for more artistic freedom, but I'll bet he never thought he'd end up like this.
I'm investigating what the folks of this town are doing to help keep their kids healthy and fit.
You see these fruits and vegetables? All the colors of the rainbow. So set yourself a challenge. Eat some of each color every day. Simple, healthy, and fun. not quite what I meant.
Who catches like that? My teammates were all shaking their heads in disbelief. The quarterback was so mad he pulled his helmet off and he slammed it to the ground. A little old lady stood up in the bleachers and said, "You suck." I said, "Sit down, Grandma." That ended my football career.
So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at a male bodybuilder. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Dennett in a typical classic male posing trunk suit. All right, let's go ahead and run through the poses now in male bodybuilding. We have 7 mandatory poses that we got to watch out for, okay? And again, a reoccurring trend is you are being judged on the appearance of everything, not just the muscle group that I'm calling out. So although the pose is going to be called, for instance, a front double bicep pose, they're not just looking at the biceps. They're going to be looking at everything.
So why first day principles? In the past 5 years, I've spent a lot of time studying this particular topic, and after speaking with the numerous women and men about this, about dating and relationships, it seems as though the first dates has the most bad advice for men. So I actually want to take the time here and clarify and give some men some better advice to ensure that they get better success in their interactions and ultimately get the second date and develop the relationship. Principle 1, don't even think about kissing her on the first date.
All right, black and white photography dedicated to the most mysterious creatures on this planet, women. That's just my opinion. I was quick with that.
That's a good thing.
We don't know. Men don't know. Well, I don't know. Anyway, so black and white photography, the subject was women in there. Now, as you saw, there was different sizes, shapes, colors, international, very unique. You know, it was like different hairstyle. It was all kinds of stuff. So your thoughts?
It shows women from all over the world. We are beautiful no matter what color we are, what culture we may be, what religious belief. We're women. We all experience the same thing. And that's what that showed. You know, we can be different, we can be bold, we can be strong. All in photography, it showed it.
As a lot of you know, I've had 4 divorces. And I felt like I should write a little autobiographical ditty, a little movie pitch of my own. And this is from Angie's story. And I'm glad I broke up with you, with all 4 of my husbands singing. Let's run that clip.
We're glad we broke up with you. We're glad we broke up with you. Not me. Yes. Oh, Angie.
Yeah.
Without you, we're maybe a little blue, but we're glad.
We're glad.
We're glad.
We broke up.
We're glad.
We broke up.
Yes,
oh yeah.
We're glad we broke up with you.
Why?
Every day I have the blues. When you see me worried, baby, it's you I hate to lose. Nobody loves me, nobody seems to care.
Now, I should tell you, Doug, that you came a few months before me because I think I told you, I worked at WNBC in New York City and started in September of 1970.
I know. We were
yes. So our paths were crossing.
And we have actually, we could go into it on a second show. We could talk about all the people we have in common and your history, Henrietta. The next time we do a conversation, I want to switch the tables here and ask you, because you really have this fascinating, complex, interesting, life, and in those early days, especially African American journalists. There weren't many, especially women.
You're absolutely right, and I was on the front wave.
You were. You're breaking all kinds of barriers, and so I want someday promised me that we'll still be talking with Henrietta, but
Yes,
let me
it'll
ask
be
some of the
talking
questions.
with Henrietta.
You know, I've known you a long time. I'm very impressed with your willingness at this point in your life to genuinely make a difference. And you know, you're a veteran and you're trying to figure out how to give peace a chance in a country that's torn by war.
Yeah. I was going to say, I tell the story. Afghanistan is my fourth war. The first two wars I was in a Navy uniform in a Navy flight suit. That was Vietnam and the Middle East six-day war. And so I feel this a necessity. That kind of war is a necessity. But when it comes time to rebuilding a country, I'm proud to be in a Boy Scout uniform for my last two.
Honestly, what happened to me that weekend was I lost 2 lights in my life. And we talking about murders, like 6 murders, 7 murders. What are we talking about people. Yeah. We talking about people right now. You know what I mean? And I'm just hoping that somebody else is feeling the same, that I'm feeling like this can't happen no more.
I just wanted to ask you about your anniversary coming up.
Well, October 1st is the 20th anniversary of Polly's kidnapping. And my wife and I have decided that we have to address this, obviously, because for us it means a lot. So what we've done is we've invited people like Susan Whitmore, our good friend, to come and join us at a gathering in San Francisco on that day. And we've gotten a very good response. Well over 100 people are going to show up. And these would be people that worked on the case, either as Petaluma police officers or FBI agents, some media folks that really helped us, and people that have impacted our lives and impacted our cause over the course of the last 20 years. So we're surrounding ourselves with people that we love and people that we adore.
That's great. I think doing rituals and those kinds of things are an important thing, and we grieve in community and getting community together.
And I'll be the first one to fall, and I'm only hoping that you catch me. If I give anything, I might as well give it all. So now I'm passing you the ball.
My favorite saying is, when all is understood, all is forgiven. And for me, the Enneagram allows us to understand what motivates other people, why they do what they do, and it ultimately is a tool to engender compassion, and compassion for ourselves and compassion for other people.
So at the end of the day, day after day, what keeps you going back and why do you keep doing it?
Those little faces and the unconditional love that all of them give. I mean, it's incredible. Just, you know, when you walk into the shelter and all the cats are coming to the front of their kitty condos and their cat flats, and the dogs are all, you know, bouncing around and tails wagging. And it's an awesome greeting every single morning.
Well, what's the most challenging part? What's the most difficult?
Not taking them all home.
And now we're going to roll in. We're going to end the show with a video, and let's roll it in and have a good evening.
Is this the solstice song?
This is the solstice
Happy solstice,
song.
everyone.
Happy solstice.
Have a happy, happy solstice. It's solstice time again. The sun appears to stop in its tracks. It starts to stay like later. Soon baseballs will be thrown. And if you have a backyard, still our mind. Even though it's cold and dark for a long, long while, we know eventually we can play in the park. So light a bunch of candles and dance around the fire. It's solstice time again, and I ain't no liar. Gonna get lighter. I know. We're gonna get stuck in the snow. I know. If you live in Akron, Ohio. Solstice time, solstice time. So by March, things will be a lot better.